Hello, everyone. Welcome to Maddox AI Plus Post Sales Summit. You are currently watching Create an Onboarding Tracker by Dana Vaughn, Director of Customer Success at Silverline Solutions. I'm excited to introduce our speaker, and I'm going to have them answer our icebreaker question. Dana, what's one AI use case you wish existed but you haven't seen yet?
I think in AI, whether it's RAG modality or, we're working to push all these wonderful data repositories into sort of a unilateral experience to make decisions. Um, I think we really spend a lot of time and effort in terms of what we see in data, but not necessarily digging around for what I'm going to refer to affectionately as the shadow signals in customers. And I think they're so very important and honestly something that with AI enablement that we're kind of missing, especially if we're working with like a Pendo or an awesome telemetry partner, to be able to install webhooks and find signals. Like, for example, if I have a customer that's exporting a CSV somewhere, they're probably band-aiding something. I
Mhm.
want to know that, right? And get in front of that proactively with a trigger and playbook and making that really efficient, going right to a Slack or a Teams message so that my AM and the CSM and the org know what's going on. So that's what I'd like to see, kind of a AI mercenary, if you will, for cross-sell and upsell.
Okay, I like that. Very thoughtful answer. Dana, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Well, welcome everyone, and so very excited to share with you, um, obviously, all things onboarding. So, if you've ever onboarded anything at all, then you know, quite frankly, that there are lots of things that, for lack of a better way to put it, drag the timeline, right? And expand all things for the customer's experience. It elongates time to value. It makes things really difficult as well when we're explaining to our leadership and our boards, well, hey, why does your implementation cycle take so long? They don't want to hear, obviously, well, I have a ton of different stakeholders with different goals and objectives and different motivators. What they want to hear is how are we really tightening up cost to serve and working together to ensure that we are illustrating a message of value that motivates, not dependent, kind of agnostic to the role, if you will, inside of the customer account, to be able to move this implementation kind of forward. So I kind of got thinking about that, right? And I've walked into several organizations at this point in my career, as I know many of you probably have, and everything's on spreadsheets. And I love a good fashioned spreadsheet. Don't get me wrong. Spreadsheets are great. They have a purpose, they have a place. And for forever, they've been the basis at which we've made really great decisions on, and that's fantastic. But I think now is a time where we have to really innovate and position how we are working with our stakeholders collectively in accounts when we are onboarding to be able to make things interactive, engaging, and useful for them above and beyond the traditional post sales motions that we've seen. Let's hand off from sales, make sure we get it right, define a time to value, track that through implementation, do a survey at handoff to success, and then let's go through the success motion playbooks based on however we're segmenting inside of our world at that given moment in time. I think that the way we can kind of work and change that up is let's try to figure out how we can track value and really illustrate that inside of the experience when we're talking and onboarding customers. Fantastically enough, AI has made that really easy, and I've enjoyed working and playing with AI. I should probably step back and say that as a leader, I've always been really cautious, right? A lot of my career has been grounded in cybersecurity best practices. It still is. Obviously, I'm a real big proponent of human in the loop and safe AI practices, right? So I think that as a leader, something I've taken from my experimentation and continued learning in AI is being sure that I'm doing that responsibly and in a way that obviously is human first and responsible. So all of that being said, I wanted to bring everybody together today and share a way to build a free onboarding application to be able to share. Whether you're a customer success manager that's working in tandem with your onboarding or implementation team, or if you're a services rock star and you just want to play with natural language to do a little bit of vibe coding. The goal after today is really just to kick up some conversation, get everybody kind of excited about just how really easy it is, because I promise I'm not a developer, okay? I'm a girl from Eastern North Carolina that has a master's degree in public admin, and I've been building and scaling success globally for 13 years. I love people and I'm huge on how do I help to bring revenue and to retain business and grow people to be the very best they can be, not develop things. Okay. So this is not rocket science, what I'm going to show you. So please feel free. It's iterative, and I want it to be conversational. Okay. So I'm gonna share, right, prompting after. But essentially, whenever I prompt, and I would encourage you when you prompt just to go in and make sure that you tell your LLM, which is what this is, right? I'm inside of Google Gemini. That's my LLM choice. If you like Claude, it's okay to use Claude. Claude is great. You can use Claude and Lovable, but for this particular situation, and just my preference in workflow, I'm going to walk you through how to use this free workflow today with three accounts. And we're going to start with the first account, which is Google Gemini. You can do the free account for this. I have the pro version. It came with one of the certifications that I paid for, but you don't have to do that. This is free, right? So you want to hop in and you want to get into it and just say, ask Gemini, I want to create an onboarding app for a customer success or onboarding team. I want to use natural language when I'm doing it. And then for the sake of this exercise, I'm going to make it really easy for you. And I'm going to put CodePen.ai and Netlify right here in the prompt to put it into production. This is the reason. CodePen is going to help you. It's also free. You're going to go in, you're going to make a CodePen account, and that's going to be where you drop what I like to say the bones and the skin and the brain of this app that you're building. And all that is how I think about three things, which we'll see when we go to the second part of this process. You're going to drop in your HTML, your CSS, and your JavaScript, right? Again, those three things are going to kind of triangulate back to how I think about it in my non-development brain as just very simply, the bones, the skin, and the brain of the applications that kind of make up our fantastic world, right? And we're going to build those things right here. We're going to tell it what kind of look to have, right? We want it to be clean and concise because nobody wants to play with an application or use an application. And the people we're onboarding and the customers that we're experiencing aren't going to want to deal with a messy application either. And you're going to say, give it a blue and orange thematic color. You can make it whatever color you want. You can make it purple with rainbows if you want. I love rainbows. So make it whatever color is in your heart. And give me a step-by-step process of how to create this. Again, I'm not a developer, so I need to know how to do these things. But now we have the power of AI. So this is really helpful. So it's going to come in and it's going to say some nice things to you because a lot of LLMs do that. We know that. And then it's going to tell us kind of where to go with this, right? Step by step. It's going to it's going to give ideas in terms of what essentially would live on our different pages in the app. Oh, we're going to have a value tracker and give a visual progress bar. We're going to have, instead of just a simple checklist, we're going to have a sentiment indicator potentially. Um, and it's going to tell you a prompt that you can then feed back into your LLM to accomplish this. So you're going to say, it says, hey, build a single page CS onboarding app using, again, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Bones, skin, and brain. So that's the colors. So I'm a girl, so I think about that's the makeup of the app, right? Aesthetics clean, concise, modern. Include an interactive progress bar, an accordion style milestone tracker, and a drop down for customer status. All data can be managed in local state for right now. Okay. The biggest thing I can say in this, as we're going through the first stage of this, which is the first initial prompting, is do not be afraid to have a conversation with this LLM. It's not going to get it right the first time. A team member that we were talking to or a coworker wouldn't get it right either. And honestly, I wouldn't get it right, right? I say all the time as a leader, I don't get things right the first time either. That's why teams of people are so amazing. And so being able to really work together collaboratively with this AI is I've found been a really big time saver. And then it's going to say, go right into CodePen. Ding, ding, ding. That's our second free account, codepen.io. And we'll look at that in just a quick sec. You're going to paste it into three boxes. That's really it, guys and ladies. It is just copying and pasting into three boxes. Okay. Into your actually CodePen account. And then you're going to use the live preview. You're going to look at your preview once we head over to step two, which is codepen.io. And we're going to see what we like and what we don't. And if we don't like something, guess what? It's okay. It's not a big deal. We're just going to go right back to our LLM and we're going to say, I want to change this and make it into this. I want to make it blue instead of green. I don't like this. I don't think it's important for the customer to see. I want to include this stakeholder. I don't have this stakeholder view right now. Okay, fantastic, Dana. I hear you. Three buckets, body parts, fantastic. Got a decent idea there. But how do I make this into something that's secure, that's protected, that's alive, kind of living, breathing thing with no cost? Well, I personally use Netlify. That was something that, again, I got originally from just playing with my LLM. And Gemini, who I affectionately have nicknamed Jimmy, and has said, hey, look, go and do this on Netlify, Dana. It's fantastic. So I went on Netlify, and Netlify is awesome. That's step three. So you're going to create your Netlify free account as well. I'm going to walk you through that in just a sec. And that's where you're going to actually do the deployment of this application and make it into a living, breathing thing. And then you're going to sit back when you do it, and you're going to be like, oh, wow, I made this thing. Because I think if you've ever not developed, at least for somebody like me, it was really kind of this crazy cool thing to be able to see that in real time. So Netlify is where we'll do that last step. Um, so basically, then I asked it, right? Before I even go to the second step, I say, well, what should I do different? Right? What am I not thinking about? So I'm asking it that. I'm saying, like, hey, what should I do different to make it even more impactful, useful, and to get a customer stakeholders engaging? Um, because again, a CFO is going to want a different project update than, you know, Jim Anderson, hypothetical human who is district manager and or fleet manager Curtis Smith. Again, these are hypothetical people. The point is tactical versus strategic, and then degrees of strategic in terms of what they're expecting to see. And how we would potentially push or prod, so to speak, our stakeholders along to be able to get real engagement from them and buy-in into projects. Because what I've seen so far in workflows are all of these fantastic things that we do to try to get customers. We send emails, we send campaigns, we pick up the phone and call, we have reviews, we have onboarding trackers, and the traditional sense ones, that is, which are built in spreadsheets, let's be honest. And they still are dragging their feet sometimes. There are blockers internally, let's be honest. We've all seen those and felt those, right? But often it's we need to get this deployed right now, and we have this customer who is not being receptive whatsoever and says that they're on vacation until next month, hypothetically, right? And we need to be able to actually get them incentivized, if you will, in a way that's diplomatic. We don't want to completely ruin the relationship. So then I'll say, step two, how do I create this? Give me the language to put into CodePen. Awesome. So because I have one of these accounts already, I can show you. Let me see here. Here we go. Okay. I go to codepin.io and I enter in my information and I set up a free account. Okay. And when I set up a free account, it's going to pop up a couple of different things, which I'll show you here. It's going to say Pin 2.0, which you can play with if you want. I personally am a classic pen girl and I use classic pen. And I've got this wonderful workspace that I can work with now. I've got a place to put HTML, CSS, and JS, JavaScript, right? So fantastic. Well, I just asked my wonderful, fantastic tool here what to use, how to prompt this, how to be able to create literally just language that I can copy and paste into it. So I did that, and I'm going to show you what I did. I'm going to copy the HTML, and then I'm going to paste it. Boom, I have bones. All right, I'm going to come here. I'm going to copy and paste the CSS. And give me just a second here. There we go. Boom. We have the skin of the app. And now I'm going to come down here and I'm going to paste this into the JavaScript panel to build the brain. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to look at this app. And I'm going to say, okay, this looks pretty cool. This is pretty cool. I mean, I can see things like the strategic view if I'm a CFO and I'm presenting to a CFO. I can go to tactical view and I can look at milestones with the customer. Fantastic. And then I really like this export wins button because that's going to help to send this information off to marketing to help build case studies, or it's going to help me to really push in a productive way with my stakeholder to be able to give them stuff to make them look great, whether it's a C-level person that wants to take a win of a new vendor on board to their board or ownership, or it's a tactical level person that needs to take that win back to their boss. Either way, with this app, you can just simply export the win. But it's missing something. I can't really put my finger on it, but it's just not exactly quite what we need yet. So we can come back in and we can say add more tactical items, add more substantial visuals in the ROI strategic view. I need an executive to see more about what specific blocker is blocking ROI because executives care about time and money, right? And what value and money and time they are receiving from this onboard. Um, and so we go and we do this process again, and we're going to copy and paste into our three buckets. Now, then I ask it, and the only reason why I'm scrolling down here is for the sake of our time. I want to make sure that we're going over everything. We have plenty of time for questions. So I'm going to kind of move you through the prompting process, right? So we can get to the last step because I really want you to see how this comes together in a cute bow. It's really awesome. So the client isn't going to care about the NRR that we would have, right? That's more of kind of an internal metric that we would look at as a lagging indicator of success. It's not really going to be something that's going to be enticing, so to speak, to move a tactical or a strategic stakeholder along. So instead, we should probably look at other things, other metrics. So let's look at trying to drive things like ops efficiency, time to ROI, in more of a payback period view. And how do we show them projected revenue impact that really links onboarding process to top line growth? So going in and doing that, I was curious, okay, awesome sauce. How is this app going to be actually updated in real time though? And it's cool because there's a couple different options. Of course, we have our option where we can vibe code and connect it with like an Airtable, just as an option. Keep all of our fun data right there. Or we can use Zapier and connect it back to right to our CRM, really. And so as soon as sales closes, that trigger causes this all to flow. And before you know it, we've got a living, breathing application that we can use along a real life implementation. So let me come back along here and we're going to do our last copy paste really quickly. And then we should be on our way to step three, which is going to be Netlify. All right. And how do I go and change stuff up? I just delete it. I'll copy over everything and I'll delete it. And then I'm going to paste the new from that HTML box right into your HTML bucket. See, I'm just scrolling right over, highlighting everything, and then I'm deleting. Then I'm going back here and I'm going to get my new makeup for my application because I want it to be nice and pretty, not just functional. Okay. And now we're going to scroll, scroll, scroll. And we're going to copy and we're going to paste it. All right. Now there's a value realization timeline, foundations deployed, workflow automation, full adoption and integration. There's more kind of an overview that a strategic person would want to see, right? If I'm a strategic account holder, again, we're in the strategic view. This is going to say, hey, this is the cost of delay per day. Well, if I'm a CFO, that's a pretty big cost of delay. I want to see that. And that's going to give me incentive to be able to really push and work collaboratively with my team to get stuff moving for this project, which is going to decrease your cycle for deployment, which is fantastic. Everybody loves that. Cost to serve is going to decrease as well. Good stuff. And over time, those indicators that are not as sexy in today's climate, but certainly still matter, CSAT. Okay, that stuff is going to make customers happy over time because they're going to see value quicker. Time to value is also going to push forward in the journey here. Again, you're showing them in direct time and money what they're saving, where this is going from there. Now, tactical view, you'll see here. Again, you've got everything broken down into phases. Our tactical folks are going to love that. You also have your owners actually called out right here. So there's no confusion on who owns the ball. I love that. I've been a big fan for a long, long time in my career from a technical standpoint of okay, cool, who owns the ball, right? And so I think like, is it CS enablement? Is it the sponsor? Who owns it? It's really big, especially for the tactical side, because that helps to then push and move all those wonderful metrics in the strategic view that the more strategic stakeholders are going to be seeing and feeling, right? As you work with them in this app. Again, built-in incentivizer here for all things good. We want to celebrate wins. They can export into a downloadable PDF and go take that, build it into their presentations, throw it back into their LLM, throw it into Gamma and make a fantastic presentation or Google Slides, and they're good to go. Now, I said there was 3 steps. So now we'll go on to step 3, Netlify. So Netlify has actually had some new workflow built into it very recently, and I'll share that briefly with you here because if you're playing around with this, I always think the latest, greatest ideas are super important. When I stumble on anything, I try to share it. And also love it when you guys and girls share because then I continue to learn too, right? But all of that being said, you're going to start, create yourself a netlify.com account. And it is a free, essentially a free way to put your actual application into production. Now, like everything, there's a free tier. So you'll get to a certain percentage. Like right now, I've built 3 applications. I'm at 75% of my free allotment. So just keep in mind that if you're going to be building a lot of this and not just to help to potentially leverage and workflow, maybe once or twice a month, that you may need to look at one of the paid plans. But this is completely free. And again, I haven't paid them a dime. So Netlify is a great way to ensure that you can get your application up and going into the universe, so to speak, of the web. So I've actually created 2 versions of this tracker. And I wanted to show both of them so you could see what they look like in Netlify. But for the sake of actually going and doing this, I wanted to show you how to go in from CodePen and export. So my app is where I want it to be. Fantastic, wonderful. But I still need to export it. So let me come right here and you'll see down here an export button. You're going to export. And then when you export, a little folder will be created. And then what you're going to do from there is you're going to come right here and you're going to browse files to upload. And from there, you're going to click on the actual folder itself. And you're going to click you're actually going to click on the DIST folder once you unzip it. Okay. So you're going to go in, you're going to click on the DIST, and you're going to drop and drag that folder. And you'll drop and drag that folder. I wanted to find the actual one for you. It's funny, does anybody else ever play with this? Here we go. So DIST. Does anybody else ever have a cluttered desktop? Is it just me? Um, so you'll go to DIST here, and that's what you're going to drag and drop over into um that actual that actual bucket right here. Right? And then when you do that, it'll take it just a second to update in Netlify, and then you'll have an actual application. And you can click on it, and it has a link that you can share. Now, this is the first version, and you might say, well, Dana, it doesn't look anything like it. It doesn't, but that's because I was thinking through it. And honestly, this first version of this app is great. It allowed me to go in. It's kind of got a little bit of a click up look and feel to it, but it's still just kind of tracking like a spreadsheet would. It's not really giving any additional information, so to speak. And then, the health score piece is good from an internal perspective, but again, was it that important to know from a customer facing perspective? Probably not, right? So that's what led to playing around with being able to look for additional ideas for this and essentially what led to this new project, which is the one we just built. Okay. And as you can see here, we've got our value realization hub for our strategic stakeholders. Our strategic stakeholders can review this with our onboarding team or customer success team, whichever, or in tandem, and talk about, what is their ROI positioned against their target? What is their time to value? Where are we stacking against that? We can put their goal right here, say it's onboarding 30 users, or onboarding the entire Southeast region, or getting the Southeast region using feature X. We can show them that right here. We can show them the revenue that's tied back to that from an ROI perspective. And then we could say, hey, these are the costs that are happening. If there are delays, there may not be. But if there is, executives need to know about that. More importantly, they deserve to know about that. And it's our job, more importantly than anything else, to set them up to look like they're super wonderful, fantastic, and successful, and they're getting value from our products. So they'll continue to champion us and or be our executive sponsor. And if they're not, it gives us the opportunity to dig into it and turn that around a little bit right from the very start, right? And then we could show value realization milestones in a way that's targeted from an overview to give them kind of a walkthrough there without getting them into the tactical minutia that somebody like a district manager or more of a tactical level leader and or individual contributor who's an amazing champion for us that has a ton of political pull in the account hypothetically would want to see. They want to see that everything's working, that they can go on, that they can sign the document in the actual application. It's more important that all of that's working and the cost savings are there to the strategic party. And then you could come right in here and you can do all of this wonderful executive one pager there and export your win. And then you'll have an actual PDF that again, your stakeholder, whoever you're working with, and it could be multiple stakeholders at once, but those people can go in and use this as an additional way to draw value above and beyond the products, above and beyond the relationship, to help to move the project along in a beneficial way, and to give them an additional way to be, I like to say, armed to share our success, but more importantly, share their success. So, but that is actually what I had from a content standpoint to share.
Dana, I do apologize. We are over time. So
Oh,
we will have to end the session now so folks can go to other sessions as well if they need to.
understood.
I'm
Okay.
so
Thanks,
sorry.
everybody. No
Of
worries.
course.
Thanks, everyone.
Yes. Thank you again, Dana. The session was amazing. And the recording for this session will be available tomorrow and we'll notify everyone when it is available. Thank you again, Dana, for joining and sharing this workflow. And thank you to everyone else for attending.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.